Food labelling for small food businesses. A presentation by Positive ID Labels. Regulations about food labelling are very complicated and there are lots of them. Hopefully this presentation will help. Positive ID Labels specialise in offering sandwich labelling systems, complete labelling solutions and complete support to our customers. So let's get started. The first question we have to ask is, do we even need to label the food? If you're selling food pre-packaged or prepared, yes, you need to label the food, and the rules that you need to apply are set out in this presentation. The rules are from the EU Directive 1169/2011, about 40 pages of regulations. Hopefully this will condense it. This presentation is for smaller food businesses, and by that we mean businesses that sell pre-packed food for sale off-site or on-site if it's pre-packed, have fewer than 10 employees and a turnover of less than 1.2 million. The first thing we need to consider is legibility, and this passes across all of the label. All labelling needs to be legible. You can't use tiny fonts, there's a minimum now. The X height of all the text needs to be no less than 1.2 millimeters. As a general rule, that's a font size of 7 points on your computer. There are 5 main things you need to include in your label: a description of the product, durability of the product, quantity of the product, the food business that made the product, and the ingredients in the product. This should include an indication of allergens and may require a quid declaration. Let's look at the description. It just needs to be a clear description of the product. It should be easy to read and not ambiguous, and it should appear on the front of the packaging. Let's look at durability. Durability is indicated with a use by date or a best before date, and a date to go with it. It should be easy to understand in a simple format. Don't use special codes such as the week of the year and day of the week. Durability is indicated by 2 date types, either a use by date or a best before date. If the product is in date, we know that the product is safe. If it's out of date, the use by date indicates that it would be dangerous to consume as it may have become infected with bacteria. A best before date indicates that it would be deteriorated. It might still be safe to eat, but it just won't be at the best quality. Another thing to consider is adding storage instructions for the consumer. This could be something like keep refrigerated below 4 degrees C or consume on day of purchase. Quantities. Obviously some products are indicated by default, such as the cobs in a package or a sandwich. Alternatively, they can be indicated by weight. Weight of the product excluding the packaging, and it should be declared in grams or kilograms. You can use both or either if it's appropriate. The food business needs to be indicated too, and the purpose of this is traceability in case there's infection in the food chain. Your label should include at least your business and business address. A telephone number, email address and a website may also be useful. Let's look at ingredients. You need to include everything. There are no shortcuts, you must put everything in detail. You should indicate the allergens in the ingredient list, and you might have to make a quid declaration. I'll explain that shortly. Including everything. Let's take a look at a cheese sandwich. It has 3 ingredients: bread, margarine and cheese, but we can't just list those. Bread consists of a number of constituent ingredients, so does margarine. Cheese is a little bit more straightforward. So instead of writing bread, margarine and cheese, we have to include the entire list. Let's look at the 14 allergens. Cereals, crustaceans, eggs, fish, peanuts, milk including lactose products, soybeans, mustard, sesame, sulfur dioxide or sulfites, lupins, mollusks, celery including celeriac, and nuts. These are tree nuts, not peanuts. We need to indicate the allergens in the product. We can highlight the allergens in any way that's suitable, and this will often be driven by the printing system we're using. It can be in uppercase, italic, bold, bold and italic, maybe bold and colour. Any combination of these. The regulations don't specify how you highlight allergens, so you can use any method. Let's look at our cheese sandwich. I've highlighted the allergens in the ingredient list on the cheese sandwich. What we need to do now is change the format. So in this example, I've now changed them all to uppercase. The next thing I need to do is explain how I've indicated those allergens. So I'm going to add a statement here, ingredients for allergens, see ingredients listed in uppercase. I've put it in bold and blue just to highlight it. Let's look at the quid declaration. You must quantify what you have described for the product. For example, a cheese sandwich will need to have a declaration for the cheese. A chicken mayo sandwich will need to have a declaration for the chicken and the mayonnaise, because they've been described in the description. Let's look at the calculation. Again, the cheese sandwich, we've got bread, margarine and cheese. These are the weights of those ingredients. That's 130 grams in total. So if we divide the ingredient by the total, that will allow us to calculate the percentages. Here I've rounded the percentages for simplicity, and we're going to put these into the ingredient list. So here's the cheese sandwich example without the quantification, without the quid declaration. Now I'm going to change that out, and you can see I've highlighted where I've put those percentages so we know what percentage each product is. So let's look at an example. This is a pretty typical label we might produce for a customer. There are 5 main things we need to include on here: the description, durability, quantity, producer and the ingredients. We can see that the food business is highlighted. We can see that the contact details are there. So we can scratch off the producer issue, the food business. Let's put a description on. This is a clear description, that's all we need to do. Next we'll look at the durability. Let's add a use by date. We've also got a little consume on day of purchase advice as well, so that's explained clearly. Next we'll look at the quantity. We can add a weight. By this we can see that we've described the quantity as a sandwich and as weight, so we've done both options. Next we look at the ingredients. Here's the full ingredient declaration. We can see that it's a detailed ingredient list. We've made a statement regarding the allergen indication, and we've also included our quid declaration. So that means ingredients is sorted. The next thing, just put a price on it. I hope you found this presentation useful. If you need any more help or support with your food labelling, why not give us a call on 01332 864895, or you can visit our website at pid-labelling.co.uk.